It's 7 o'clock, November 19th. This is the Greenway Advisory Committee meeting. We have a proper quorum. We have not had a meeting in 4 months. There are no old minutes to review. So we'll jump right into old business, which is our sidewalk projects. And an
Very
update
good.
there.
First off, congratulations on
Thank you.
your successful run for alderman.
Appreciate
Great to
it.
have you back. A lot has happened in the last 120 days with sidewalks. I don't know if you've been around up and down Fergus Road, but that project is complete. Looks great. We're- the asphalt, I didn't even know this was planned to follow on, but Garland had coordinated the paving of the road from Heritage Valley East up to the Tiger Market, and they came in right after we got done the punch list and did that. So that little section of road and sidewalk is just great. And the Parks and Rec Department, we're gonna go in and replace some of the fence that was removed from there. The contractor wouldn't do it because we're going to move the fence to the opposite side of the parking lot so that it has a purpose. And that was outside of the scope of the project for them to do. So I told Bruce that we would take care of that. So we had a ribbon cutting then for Fergus last month, and so that's ours, 100%. Cheney is coming along. That sidewalk is 99% complete. Similarly, they started last Friday, came in and paved from just past the high school all the way and up to including parts of Old Nashville Highway. So that's paved, and it looks great. It's not to mention the safety piece of it where the kids, I say kids because of the schools, but people can walk on the sidewalk and not on the shoulder of the road. So those were two really major projects that we got done that had been on the books for, I think, 6 years, maybe 7 years. So it feels good to get those finally put away and marked off. And then lastly, the safe routes to school sidewalk, which connects Sand Hill to Angannon there on Floyd Mayfield, which will connect all the sidewalks in from Laverne Lake to Roy Waldron. We've got the notice to proceed with that, but because of the time of the year and the fact that we don't have to have that project done until September, we're gonna wait until the first of the year to advertise. And then we'll be looking at a March, April, May start date for that. And that probably should be a 90-day project at most. There's no right-of-way issues, there's no environmental issues. It's just a straight shot, 1,200 linear feet to connect those sidewalks. So we're in great shape there. And then I'll save the other for the next.
And it's a 100% matching grant on the Safe Route to School. So, guys, any questions along those lines? All right, we'll jump into new business and talk about some good news with our Greenway.
Okay, this really is good news. As you're all well aware, the Greenway monies that we were awarded back in 1999 have gone, for the most part, unused up until this point, less a couple of sidewalk projects on Stones River and the one coming down 4170. But we met with Weiser, who's the engineering firm, at the beginning of the month. And because the contract that we had with them was dated, the numbers didn't make a whole lot of sense as far as percentages and what it cost now versus what it cost then. So they've gone back and resurveyed the area, and they're going to come up with, probably week after next, come back to us with a preliminary plan of what it's going to cost to give us our Greenway from the library to the roundabout. And what we can do with that, that'll just be the Greenway. Then we can sit back and take that number out and see what kind of a dollar amount we're looking at as far as trailheads and other trail, beautification projects along the way, what we want to do. We did find out that there's a section of the Trail of Tears that comes through Laverne that's very unique to this area. So we may be able to get some federal funding there for signage and some interpretive sites along the way that would just help better describe the Trail of Tears and its significance that it had on the community. So we got a lot of good things in that, working on in that area. Realistically, we could probably look at moving dirt as early as April or May of next year, with an anticipated completion date probably of the end of 2014. Again, we've got the $1.4 million that the state's given us, and then we got the $385 that we've got. So we're talking about, $1.75 million. So we should be able to do a pretty nice trailhead. I'm leaning right now towards something in the middle of the Greenway as opposed to putting it at either end, since it is such a large section of Greenway. The thought there is that if you're walking on the trail and you're all the way at the roundabout and the trailhead's all the way back at the library, that could be a pretty good way, a pretty good trek if you've got to get back for whatever reason. So the thought was maybe to put it kind of centrally located there in the middle. But what I'd like to do is, once I get that, and I'm not sure in what format I'm going to get it, but I'd like to forward it to you guys to look at, and then maybe we can have a special call meeting or put together a workshop for January that we can start to get some catalogs and stuff and look at, okay, this is the kind of bench we want, this is the kind of light we want, bathrooms and a theme, if you will. But so I'm excited to say that we're finally moving on this project.
This one especially.
And it's going to be very, very real here very soon.
This was 1999, so this is sat there for a while. And that was one of the things in the very beginning that you all had asked, are we finally going to move on some of these? So I think we're all excited about it. But any questions?
As we start on this section, can we go ahead and start the preliminary work to get the next logical section, which is to the Hurricane Creek?
That's I'm working on that right now as well.
Okay. There's less construction, I think, along that route.
There
it's
is.
just a matter of dressing it.
We wanted to be real careful with the notice to proceed with the
Multi-use.
right of way,
Yeah.
because I didn't want anybody to think that, because the Corps owns so much of the property that we're looking at, I didn't want to perceive that I was getting ahead, before we had the notice to proceed for the right of way. So, but yes, we've already contacted the Corps. We're talking about the old road bed from the roundabout out to the boat ramp.
And even then, there's a lot more to what we are meeting with the Corps. Potentially, there could be a whole lot right along the lake. So it's really good news. But I'm like you, I don't want to until we get the actual okay.
Right.
So. Anything else? All right, guys, unless Jeff had just mentioned we may have a special meeting or a workshop in January, and I guess that would be all contingent upon whether we get everything in with Wiser, and if that case, then we'll contact y'all. But as of right now, our next meeting will be February 18th, 7 o'clock, and it will be a workshop unless we contact you before then. And hopefully we do. That just means we're moving.
And I would like to hold a community meeting probably in that same time frame. In fact, we may substitute that February meeting for a community meeting, just to get the input from folks in the community as to what they want. There's hundreds and hundreds of catalogs that have, again, benches and themes and, restrooms and amphitheaters and walking trails and all kinds of neat, park amenities. So I'd like to get as much community feedback in addition to your feedback as we can to make sure that we're giving the community what the community wants.
Well, guess we're just down to comments. Sarah, do you have anything?
I do not.
Mark? No. All right, guys, I just want to thank you. I know it's been a few months since we met, but thank you for being part of this board. I wish everyone a happy holiday, starting with Thanksgiving this week, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and look forward to moving forward, especially with the Greenway in 2013. Having said that, we'll adjourn.